Hello, everybody. Surprise. It's me instead of Dr. Perry today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Brittany. I'm one of his nurses, and he taught me into doing it for him since he is gone right now. So as you probably already saw, we are going to be talking about weather and fertility today. So we're going to be talking about the hot summers. Hey, Erica. We're going to be talking about the hot summers, the exercise, the boxers versus briefs debate, all kind of stuff. So join in and feel free to post any questions. Hey, Angel, and I will see if I can answer them for you. So first, we're going to talk about, do hot Mississippi summers really affect anything? And so actually, yes. Hey, Lucretia. Actually, yes, temperature can affect people getting pregnant and all that kind of stuff, because you have to think about it when it is, hey, Sarah, when it is super duper hot outside and people don't have good air conditioning, then they are not going to be as inclined to want to try to have a baby. And so think about how there are a lot of babies that are born in October and they were conceived when it's cold outside. And so that's something to think about. Now, for guys, they have a cremasteric reflex that whenever it is cold outside, the testicles draw up closer to their body. And then when it's hot, they hang lower. And it's because the testicles are 4 degrees cooler than the rest of the body. And so that's pretty neat that the male body does that, because you definitely don't want them to get too hot. And so we also worry about people, hi Gabby, we worry about guys who work outside in the heat a lot, HVAC, construction, that kind of stuff, frequent water breaks, things like that will definitely help. Let me see if I have to make notes on like Dr. Perry. It doesn't all just come out of my mind. So I think that's it for that part. Do y'all have any questions on that topic? I don't see any, but I'm not promising there's not any, because I think I have to scroll. Okay. All right, perfect. So another thing we see a lot as far as jobs go, we see a lot of truck drivers that end up having decreased sperm counts. So just think, sometimes, especially if you're overweight, if your testicles are sandwiched between your legs all day, then that increases the temperature of the testicles. And so that makes it where the sperm might not do as good, or you might not have as much. And so in those cases, we, would encourage breaks, weight loss for sure. But those are some of the ones we're like, ooh, we probably need to get them in to do a semen analysis first. And so another thing to think about as far as that goes is laptops. You want to keep those off the lap, just because those can affect counts, because the bottom of them especially gets really hot, so you don't want to have them in your lap too much. And so I think that that's the it on that point. And then we'll be curious to see if the heat wave sweeping across the country right now changes anything for fertility for people. So then we have exercise. Okay, so you obviously health, wellness is good. You want to take the general precautions though, staying hydrated, all that type thing. But it's definitely encouraged. But cycling may affect sperm, because the testicles are constantly being pressed up against the bike if you're cycling. So that is a thing that you would want to watch. And then for women, interesting enough, hot yoga has become a common thing, but you really want to stay away from that when you're trying to get pregnant, because that can raise the core body temperature, and that is not something that we're trying to do. And then, so eggs are not as sensitive as sperm to heat, but you still do want to make sure that you take breaks, don't stay in hot tubs too long, don't put yourself to stroke level, all that good stuff, and take breaks, all that. So any questions on that topic? Okay, so we're gonna move on. I've got all my things written down in a row here, so all right, and then okay, people say, oh, look at all these cute little faces going everywhere. So some say that bad weather, like the blackout in 1965 in New York, that may cause more babies 9.5 months later. With modern medicine, that's not as common. So that's one thing. Actually, just normal storms don't have any effect. Severe storms where people miss work, that may increase it a little bit. Oh, let me scroll down here. I see a question on here. Lucretia, what's the price to check to see if we can have kids? So that is just going to be dependent on what all therapy we have to do. I think a common misconception when people come here is that they are going to have to do IVF, and that's not always the case. There's much cheaper options, so it's not always the case with that. And so to go back to the storms and what's really true, sometimes with severe storms where work is canceled, you might see a subtle increase because people are staying at home. But then like memorable storms like Katrina, the things might drop initially because you're misplaced and all that kind of stuff. But when people get back to work and find their new jobs, feel secure, they might want to start a family because they're making money again and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what it's like with storms. So I know probably more than you ever wanted to know about how much fertility and weather and storms and all that kind of stuff go together. And I have a surprise, Dr. Perry. We have our embryologist, lab director, Lisa, joining us today. She is the one, for those of you who don't know, she works more behind the scenes. She takes care of the embryos and so and keeps our lab running. And so she's going to talk to us a little bit about things from a lab point of view.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa Dorman. I'm the lab director here at Positive Steps, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about temperature and the IVF lab. In our embryology lab, we keep, I would say from egg retrieval to embryo transfer, we keep everything at 37 degrees. So we have our incubator set at 37 degrees, and that's where the embryos live 99% of the time that we have them. Of course, we have to get them out to manipulate them. So for that, we set a timer. We don't like to have them out more than 3 minutes. So we set a timer so that we're aware, because we want at the end result good results. So for our stages and our microscopes, those are set at 37 degrees so that when we have them out and we're manipulating them, we can keep them at 37 degrees, which is body temperature. And that's pretty much it. It's just a little quick idea of what we do in the lab. Everything's kept warm, and that's a critical point of embryology, is to keep everything at the right temperature. And I'm not really sure where I'm supposed to be looking on here, so.
No, you're fine. Right. I'm pointing all the way. Right. Just right there where the light is, but I kind of read the things over to the side too.
Okay. So.
Any questions for Dr. Dorman while she is on here? Because she would be the ones taking care of your babies.
Yes, we're your first babysitters.
That's right, but don't send them to her after they're born, because she's not going to take them.
Exactly.
She's got grandkids of her own.
Right, and here's one of them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look.
That's
Mindy.
Miss Mindy.
Oh, she's so cute. Yeah,
Can't
there you
figure
go.
out what I'm doing. There we go.
All right.
Thank you for your time. I'm going to turn it back over to Brittany.
All right. Thank you.
Right.
Okay, we've got just one more thing to talk about. And that's going to be the boxer versus briefs debate. That's a big topic, and people always want to know, is it true, is it not true? Actually, boxers are better just because they're not as tight and they don't keep the testicles up close to the body like briefs do. So I'm sure that you wanted to know that so that you can say that you won the argument on whichever side of that you were on. So that's really all that I have today. I don't have as much to talk about as Dr. Perry typically does, but since he was not here, you know, he conned me into doing this. So anyway, does anyone have any questions before we go? Alrighty, I think that is everything. And tune in next month. And I haven't looked at the schedule to see who will be doing this, but we will be seeing about that. So thank you everybody for tuning in. You'll be able to choose if you want to.